Good afternoon. Wanted to quickly jump on this Monday, the 25th of October, and tell you about what's going on this week in the UK in the run-up to the budget on Wednesday. Well, first of all, the minimum wage is set to rise by 6.9% to £9.50 an hour. Now, in case you don't know me, my name is Charles Kelly. I run this Money Tips podcast. I put it out on iTunes and Stitcher and other podcast platforms that you can get it on audio, but also on YouTube and here on Facebook. And if you do like my content, please like, subscribe and share it to give other people my free content on money matters, property, mortgages, gold, stock market, all these sorts of things. Now, the living wage, but the minimum wage is now called the living wage, is expected to rise by 6.9% from £8.91 to £9.50. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it will affect all workers over the age of 23. Now, this pay increase for millions of workers, by the way, will push up costs for employers. It's not only going to push up the cost for the workers on that wage, 6% of their wages, and for a lot of businesses that could be 50, 60, two-thirds of their cost. Like if you're in a nursing home, for instance, two-thirds of your cost can be just salaries, just wages, just staff. So if you add 6% to that, well, it's nearly 7%, that's quite an inflationary pressure. And it's bound to push up costs for businesses, and those costs will be pushed on to the consumer, you and I, who go in and spend. I've talked to local businesses. They said, one restaurant owner said he's got to put up prices or cut portions because everything is going up. Cooking oil, cost of everything is just going up. So it's going to happen, and it's going to put further pressure on the government with regards to inflation. Now, retail sales have fallen, and this comes at a time when landlords are trying to ramp up pressure on the tenants in the shops to pay rent. They're owed a lot of money in arrears. Some shops have done deals to reduce their rent, and this now the landlords are going to get fed up with it. I told you about this last week. Now, interest rates, as I was saying to you last week, are expected to rise. This is to fight this inflation that's coming up. I think we're calling it the big squeeze for the Chancellor of this budget. Petrol prices have hit record levels. That the price of a litre of fuel in the shops in the UK, I think it's reached £1.60 something. That's a lot, and that's record levels. So inflation is going up and up. We know the cost of stuff that's going on in the shops, and inflation is set to hit 4 to 5% according to the market gambles by the end of this year. And it's happening in America as well, and Germany, which has always been freakish about inflation since they had this Weimar Republic, which put in hyperinflation and eventually brought in the fascist government of Adolf Hitler after that collapse. So interest rates are expected to go up to 0.25%. This is unusual because no other Western economies are doing this, but that's what the Bank of England is expected to do. They've kind of leaked this, haven't they? So that's putting pressure on now the Chancellor, who wants to, the Conservatives like to have a low spend, low tax economy, encourage business. But with this big squeeze going on, I don't see how he's going to do it. I mean, 400 billion there, if you can see that, went on, supporting the total amount spent on COVID support. But in addition, the Bank of England has printed, or through QE, quantitative easing, printing money to you and I, 895 billion. So that's a lot of money. It's 1,000 billion. It's going on for like nearly a trillion. The national debt is 2 trillion in the UK. It's like we haven't seen debts like this since the Second World War. So what is he doing? Well, he seems to be spending more money actually. He's announcing a 2 billion investment into building new homes on derelict land in England and Wales. He wants some green project as well. Last week I told you that he's expected to spend to support families with more childcare and transport expenditure in the north of England. Obviously, we've got this big rail project going from London to Birmingham, which people can't quite see the point of. It's going up to, the cost of that is rising to something like 80 billion. So, I can't see him slashing spending if you look at it this way, with all the projects that are likely to be announced. And on the one hand, he needs to get the economy moving because we've had the worst recession in 300 years. But on the other hand, he doesn't want to stifle business too much by putting up taxes so much that businesses will just relocate somewhere else. But there are rumours that he's already introduced tax rises to the national insurance level, but there are rumours that he may increase capital gains tax. This is the punitive tax that's put on people who make a profit when they buy and sell an asset or a business or shares or property or a second home. And when they're sold and they make a profit, the taxman says, thank you very much for your hard work, for taking all that risk. We're going to take a chunk of that from you. Now, it looks like he might start taking a bigger chunk because property investors, stock market investors, they're an easy target, aren't they? They can't complain. They're not going to go marching down to Parliament. No one has any sympathy for them. Oh, they're rich fat cats. So it looks like they could hit landlords again. And, as I said, I've been saying this for months, that with all this money being spent, 400 billion propping up the economy, and the massive national debt, they've got to do something to claw it back, right? And if business is not growing as fast as we think, and then those companies won't be paying so much corporation tax, which is also increased or putting an increase for the future, then he's got to find this money from somewhere. So what do? I think you've just got to really keep an eye out and just find ways that you can adapt to this, because in addition, there seems to be leaks all over the media, particularly on the BBC, dropping strong hints that COVID levels are up, infections are up, and blah blah blah, and the government should introduce a lockdown. Of course, the government say no, we can't do that. We wouldn't want to hurt businesses. But then the other side, the scientists say, no, you need to take tougher measures now, more mask wearing, more restrictions, lock people up. So what's going to happen now? The government say, oh no, we won't do that. It's almost like a good cop, bad cop show. And what's going to happen eventually? They'll say, well, it's with a heavy heart. We didn't want to lock you down for Christmas, but unfortunately we have to do it because of these rising rates. And we've got to protect the NHS, haven't we? We must protect the NHS. I thought the NHS was supposed to protect us, but it looks like we could have another lockdown at the end of this year. I think if you're unhappy about that, now's the time to write to your MP. Now's the time to protest, not when it's happened in the middle of winter. But that could be happening. So just keep yourself aware of things. Watch my channels on YouTube. Keep yourself up to date with financial news. And also, if you want to find out more, you can register for some of my courses, which are free courses. So thanks for listening. I'll just give you a quick update this week, and I'll be back with you tomorrow and Wednesday after the budget. Thanks for listening, and have a great evening. And thanks for all your support for people on Facebook. Ronnie, Rosie, right? Okay, great. Nice to see you, Rosie, down there on the south coast, and Ronnie over there in Scandinavia. So great to see you guys. Thanks for supporting me and liking my videos and all that sort of stuff. I do really appreciate it. Thanks very much, and have a great evening.